Earl Campbell, the Tyler Rose, wasn't just a football player, he was a force of nature. His punishing runs and unyielding spirit made a national sensation, leading him to a Heisman Trophy and a Pro Football Hall of Fame career. But every legend has a price, and for Earl Campbell, the cost of his greatness would be paid long after his exit from the spotlight. This is the tragic story of a hero who gave his all to the game he loved. The rise of the Tyler Rose. Earl Campbell was born in Tyler, Texas, on March 29, 1955. He was the sixth of 11 children. His large family had little money, and every day was a struggle for them, but they had a lot of love. For Earl, football wasn't just a game, but his lifeline. He saw it as his ticket out of poverty. He poured all his energy into it, turning himself into a powerhouse on the field. At John Tyler High School, people started calling him the Tyler Rose because of his unique running style. Despite being so strong and muscular, he moved gracefully on the field. He never avoided a hit. Instead, he would lower his shoulders and run right through the defenders, building a career on his brute strength. When it was time for college, the University of Texas in Austin was the right place for him. He quickly became the star player of the Longhorns team. He was bigger, faster, and stronger than everyone else on the team, a different breed. Watching him run was amazing. He would run right through defenders, smashing and knocking them backwards. Tacking Earl Campbell wasn't just something you'd try to do, but something you'd try to survive. The crowd would go wild every time he got the ball because they knew they were about to see something special. His last season was incredible. He ran for over 1,700 yards and scored 18 touchdowns, leading the entire country. It was a huge year that ended with him winning the Heisman Trophy, the first ever for a Longhorn player. Everyone knew the NFL was next, and the big question was just how much more punishment he could deliver at a professional level. The NFL was ready for its next big star. The Houston Oilers were a team that was falling apart, and they had the chance to make the first pick in the 1987 NFL Draft. They were desperate for a player that would strengthen their team, and they knew they had to pick Earl. He was their savior, a running back who could turn a whole team and city around. He was even better than they hoped for. His first professional game showed everyone that this was just the beginning. He ran with such raw strength, busting through tackles and leaving a bunch of bruised and worn-out defenders behind him. His running style wasn't about gaining yards. It was a physical battle on every play, an act of pure force. Nobody knew it at the time, but every one of those hits was slowly taking a toll on his body, a hidden price for his greatness. But for now, he was just unstoppable. Soon, the Tyler Rose became the face of Houston during a special time called the Luvia Blue era. The fun had just started, but the real cost of his success was a lot more than anyone could have ever guessed. In 1978, the city of Houston was ready for a change, and they got it. The Houston Oilers had chosen Earl Campbell. The city was excited. People believed this powerful running back from Texas was the key to turning things around for their team. He wasn't just a new player, but their hometown hero, coming to save the team. Earl Campbell wasted no time in proving them right. He completely dominated from day one. In his rookie season, he ran for 1,450 yards and had 13 touchdowns. He earned both the NFL Rookie of the Year and MVP awards, a rare feat for a first-year player. Because of him, the Oilers went from a struggling team to being worthy competition. The city fell in love with this team and their new player. They painted the town blue and rallied behind the team. That period became known as the Love Ya Blue era. Earl Campbell was the face of the Houston's football team with his unique running style, unlike other running backs with fancy moves or quick cuts. His running style was all about power and force. He was like a human wrecking ball. He would put his head down and charge straight into a defender instead of trying to get around them. Opponents remember playing against him as if it were a war. Retired players have told stories about how much it hurt to tackle him. They said it felt like running into a brick wall. Linebackers and defensive linemen had to brace themselves, knowing that hitting him would be painful. Hall of Fame linebacker Jack Lambert once said that tackling Earl Campbell was like tackling a cement truck. That kind of physical play made him a legend. However, it was also the first warning. All the constant bone-jarring contact was taking a heavy toll on his body. His incredible runs made him a legend, but they also started to break down his body. With every hit he took, every time he crashed into a defender, something inside him gave way. either a piece of cartilage, a small muscle, or a joint. Back then, nobody paid attention or thought of how it could affect his body. They were too busy celebrating his touchdowns and runs. The pain was just considered a part of the game, or so everyone thought. While everyone was cheering, his body was slowly starting to protest. At first, the decline was slow and subtle, barely noticeable, hidden by his extraordinary will and strength. But it was there, waiting. While his career was headed for the Hall of Fame, his body's ability to take the abuse was running out. The Luvia Blue era was fantastic, but its ending was the start of a sad ending no one could have seen coming. The painful reality. For the first few years of his career, Earl Campbell was truly an unstoppable force of nature. He ran the ball an unbelievable amount of times, far more than anyone in today's NFL would ever be asked to. In his first 3 seasons alone, he had over 1,000 carries. That's an impressive number, representing a massive amount of punishment for a single person to endure. All of those harsh hits and continuous collisions he had sustained began to add up, and slowly his body started to break down. First, the knee problems that had bothered him in college got even worse, and his back started giving him some trouble. Even then, he stayed strong and played through the pain. But it was obvious to everyone that he wasn't the same player he used to be. His incredible runs and strength that made him famous began to decline, replaced by a slower, more cautious style. The after effects of the hits that made him a legend was slowly becoming clear. By the year 1984, the Houston Oilers decided to trade their beloved star player, Earl Campbell, to the New Orleans Saints. It was a shocking and painful moment for the city, which had embraced him as their hero during the Luvia Blue era. His time with the Oilers had come to an end. His performance in New Orleans dropped even more as his body was simply giving out. The constant pain in his knees and back was just too much to bear. The man once known for his unstoppable power was now struggling to keep his spot on the field. After 2 tough seasons with the Saints, Earl Campbell decided to retire in 1986. The announcement wasn't a big deal like his MVP awards had been. Instead, it was a peaceful end to his impressive career. At only 31 years old, his body felt much older than it was. The physical decay from all those punishing runs had become a consistent problem in his life. He was no longer a player, but a man dealing with non-stop pain. Life after football wasn't the easy retirement everyone expected for Earl Campbell. The cheers and glory of his career had faded, but the aches and pains that tormented him didn't. It was time to pay the price for his success, both physically and emotionally. The man who used to run over defenders was now finding it hard to walk. This was only the beginning of a long and difficult journey. The toll the sport took on his body was about to become very clear. The hero of Houston would soon have to face new challenges that had nothing to do with football. For most people, retirement was a time to step back and relax, but for Earl Campbell, it was the start of a much harder battle against his own body. The pain he had dismissed and played through for years, the constant aches he had ignored, had become his everyday reality. He was no longer a player with a medical team that would attend to him, but a man whose body was breaking down from the inside. His doctor's diagnosis was depressing. He was told he had severe arthritis, which is a painful joint swelling, and spinal stenosis, a condition where his spinal canal was narrowing that puts pressure on his nerves. All those countless bone-shaking collisions he had taken finally caught up to him. The loss of his ability to move was slow but steady, and it was devastating to watch. It began with a limp. Then he needed a cane to walk. The cane then turned into a walker, and then even that wasn't enough. The man who had once been an unstoppable force of nature, a freight train on the football field, was now confined to a wheelchair. It's a truly sad story, a reminder of the heavy price he paid for his greatness. The pain was a constant companion that never left him. In an attempt to find some relief from the pain, Campbell went through multiple surgeries on his back and knees. Each surgery was a risky and hopeful effort to fix what the game had broken. He would go under the knife again and again, hoping to find a way to walk without pain and regain some of his freedom. He faced each one with the same toughness he showed on the field, but the results were never what he truly needed. The pain always came back. The surgeries he had undergone only provided temporary relief, but they couldn't undo the years of damage his body had taken. His body has become a reminder of his career, with every scar from a surgery telling a story of the battles he fought on the football field. The constant, overwhelming pain he felt led him down a dark and lonely road that had nothing to do with football. The man who seemed to have it all, fame, money, the respect of a nation, was now secretly fighting a battle tougher than any defender he'd ever faced. This struggle became much more than a physical problem into a war inside him that threatened to take everything away, leaving him as a shadow of his former self. It was a secret he had kept well hidden from the world for a long time, but deep down, he knew he couldn't fight it alone forever. Earl Campbell's injuries had caused him so much pain. It was always there, always present, despite being unwanted. To deal with the pain from his arthritis and spinal issues, doctors prescribed him powerful painkillers. The medicine the doctor recommended that was meant to help him escape the pain soon became a trap for him. Without even realizing it, he had become reliant on those pills, and it slowly became a serious addiction. What was supposed to be a simple medical solution to his predicament had become a personal crisis. The man who was once a legend who dominated the field was now a prisoner to his own prescription. His battle was now against his own dependence. The addiction took a heavy toll on him. It was a secret he was ashamed to share publicly. He smiled when outside and put on a mask to the world. But behind closed doors, he was in big trouble. He started isolating himself, the addiction making him push away the people who loved him most. The physical pain was bad enough, but the loneliness and shame he felt was almost worse. It was a true low point for a man who had always seemed so strong. The secret troubled him constantly, and he was losing himself to the endless need for more pills. He knew he was in a very bad place and had reached a crossroad. He could either continue down that dangerous path or finally seek help. The biggest change came from the people who mattered most. His family. His wife, Riuna, and their two sons, Christian and Tyler, saw what was happening and knew they had to step in. They sat him down for a family intervention, a moment that was very emotional, filled with tough love and honesty. They told him how much they loved him and how worried they were about losing him. This was the moment that finally broke through to him. At that moment, surrounded by his loved ones, he made the decision to get help. He checked himself into a rehabilitation center and began the long and difficult road to sobriety. He faced his addiction head-on with the very same toughness he used to face linebackers on the field. He even joined Alcoholics Anonymous, a public declaration of his commitment to getting better. His journey wasn't easy, but it gave him a new kind of purpose. He started talking openly about his addiction and used his story to help others who might be struggling. He went from being a football hero to a hero in recovery, a living proof that addiction can happen to anyone. Earl Campbell had hit rock bottom, but he didn't just find himself again. He also found a new mission, one that was way more important than any touchdown he ever scored. The successful life he's built since then shows his incredible strength. He figured out how to use his painful past for good. And that's a true example of finding a little light in a dark situation. After being rehabilitated and getting back his dependence, the dark period of his addiction became a thing of the past. He became a businessman and started his own company, Earl Campbell Meat Products Incorporated, a company now known for its smoked sausages and other processed meat products. The man who was once known for his powerful runs was now known for his hot links. The business became a huge success and proved that the same drive and determination that carried him in football's days were still a huge part of him. He showed everyone that life doesn't have to end after sports, and you can still live a successful and meaningful life. Besides running a business, he also found a way to give back to the place that helped make him a star. He returned to the University of Texas, his alma mater, to serve as a special assistant to the athletic director. He now serves as a mentor to young players and talks to them about more than just football, but about life as a whole. He uses his own life story as a warning, explaining how his violent running style not only caused him a lot of pain, but led to him needing a wheelchair. At the same time, he serves as a huge inspiration, showing them that even when you face major setbacks, you can find a way to overcome them and build a meaningful life. He's a living legend who walks the sidelines in a wheelchair, offering an inspiring lesson to the new generation. He also found a new voice for himself, one that's even more important than his Heisman speech. He became an outspoken advocate for other former NFL players. He talks openly about his struggles with chronic pain and his addiction to painkillers. He also uses his platform to bring attention to the long-term effects of a football career and the need for better care for retired athletes. He's brave enough to be vulnerable and share his story so that others can learn from his experience. His message is a powerful one. The NFL has a responsibility to take care of the men who gave their bodies to the game. Earl Campbell has lived so many different lives. He went from being the Tyler Rose, a superstar, to a man in a wheelchair with an addiction to painkillers, and then to a successful business owner and a voice for change. His journey has been full of unimaginable highs and lows, but through it all, he stayed strong. He found a way to take the most painful parts of his life and turn them into something positive. Earl Campbell's story is a powerful reminder of the physical price that professional football players pay. It's a debt that often comes due long after they've retired. His life is the perfect example of the big question facing the NFL today. How do they take care of the men who gave their bodies to the game? His struggles emphasize the need for better health care and more support for players. His legacy isn't just about his amazing runs and touchdowns. It's also about the harsh truth that the sport can leave players with physical damage to their bodies and a lifetime of pain. He's used his fame to become a voice for this cause, pushing for a more caring approach from the league and bringing a problem that hasn't gotten the necessary attention out in the open. He is living proof that being great at something can come with huge consequences. Even today, people still love seeing Earl Campbell. You can find him at events, often with his sons by his side, who are his biggest supporters. Even though he uses a wheelchair, his smile is still as big and friendly as ever. He attends University of Texas football games, and everyone there loves him. He is a very kind and gentle man, and his spirit is still strong. You might even see him at his ranch, enjoying a simple life, which is a lot different from being on the football field. He has found a way to be happy and live peacefully, even with the pain he feels every day. His life today shows us all that you can still be a happy and strong person, no matter how hard things get. The Tyler Rose still blooms, a living symbol of hope and a sad reminder that being so great can come with a high price. What part of Earl Campbell's story do you find the most inspiring? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next video.